So now, this is what ended up happening. So they would take an image like this, where you can clearly see that these are brothers. And it would turn into this. Y'all can clearly see the difference. You understand? So now, when did that take place? That took place during the Renaissance. The Renaissance was a rebirth of white rulership inside of the earth. You understand? And all of this took place. Like when you go and you do history, right? What you'll find out is that most of these wars that were fought at this time was fought between the western and the eastern part, or between the white side and the black side. Once again, we were ruling Byzantium, the east side. They had a stronger foothold on the west side. That's what the whole Great Schism was about. You understand? Like the entire Great Schism was literally about the west side wanting to destroy all those black images. You understand? And then our people fighting to hold on to them. So what they'll call it is iconoclastic controversy. You understand? Where they went to war over these images. You can also look this up as the war between the Neri and the Galapi. Neri meaning black, Galapi meaning white. And this is the battle that took place between the Great Schism. Once again, just like Constantinople was overthrown, you understand, so was the Neri. And as a result, the church, or the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, became basically white. Yeah, Johanna?
So you said the, what was it, iconoclastic or classic?
Iconoclastic.
Iconoclastic, okay.
Con. You understand?
Iconoclastic, what was the last one?
Controversy.
Controversy.
You understand? So this is them battling over these icons, and that's why they were stashed in Russia. They were stashed inside these monasteries, some even behind walls and stuff, until eventually even the Orthodox Church was changed. You understand? And then once again, they wanted to hold on to the traditions of what they were doing over in the East. Today, the Eastern Orthodox would be known as the Greek Orthodox. Right. You understand why? Because the Byzantine Empire spoke Greek. You understand? Because it was Rome. Rome, what language did they speak? They spoke Latin, if you were in the upper class, and they spoke Greek. You understand? And this is why the majority of the manuscripts which came out of the Byzantine Empire were Greek. You understand? And that's why this is another thing y'all got to pay attention to. The Byzantine Empire only recently really became known as Byzantium, or the Byzantine Empire. When Constantine was ruling, he was Rome. Right. You understand? When his descendants were ruling, they were Rome. Now, there's something else that y'all can look up as well. I'm going to try to get this image for you. I wanted to blow it up on this screen. I can't connect it to this laptop. There's something called the Moldavia Monastery. You understand? I'm going to try to get the correct spelling for you. Now, in this monastery, there are paintings. And these paintings will literally contain this is, I'm going to try to show you, it's in Romania. Once again, this is one of the Byzantine Empire's territories. So now there's a painting that you can see of Constantinople being sacked. Now, why is this so important? Because when you look at this painting, on one side you're going to see the Ottoman Turks coming to attack the castle. They're all white men on horses. In the castle, you're going to see Constantine's great-great-great-great-great-grandson. He's a black man with woolly hair wearing the crown along with all other black men in the castle. I wish I could blow this image up for you a little better. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see that. That's a brother inside the castle. I'll pass this around to y'all. This is a brother inside the castle wearing that crown. And if you see the extension of that picture, you'll see white Ottoman Turks charging at the tower. This is the Moldavia Monastery in Romania. Now, once again, if you want to say Constantine's not a black man, then why are his descendants being painted as black men? I'll try to get a better picture for y'all in the future weeks. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the proof that all of them were black, I don't know why people are trying to prove it. I mean, it's self-explanatory. Because when I was 6 years old, I told my mom, they're telling the truth. I remember that. And she even told me, I'm like, Mom, they're telling the truth. And I was 6 years old. Now that Jesus Christ is black, they're all black.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. It's because of all the images being whitewashed. You understand? It's because of, you understand? So once again, I wanted y'all to see this, wanted y'all to see the castle, so on and so forth, to now explain that we started to lose Rome. Now, we were still ruling other areas. Those men that were ruling the Byzantine expanded their conquest. And they went and conquered France. They went and conquered, the hell is it called? Germany. They went and conquered. They were the original Anglo-Saxons. So that's what I want to get into now. What I want to get into now is, because most of this class, I want to talk about King James, Scotland, so on and so forth. I just wanted to give you a brief intro to the Dark Ages. Eventually, later on, I'll get more detailed into all of this. I just wanted you to see some of the photos, the whitewashing, so on and so forth. But it was during that whitewashing era that they went and sanctioned for Caesar Borgia to be painted and become Christ. Right. That's when they hired, like, y'all think the Ninja Turtles are named that for a reason. Do you understand? The Ninja Turtles are named after 4 famous Renaissance painters. Right. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Donatello, so on and so forth. These cats were the ones that the Catholic Church hired and sanctioned to destroy and whitewash all the images that they found. And thus changing the rulership. They don't know Constantine's black because they portray him as a white man. But if you go and you get the Russian icons, which is now a $7,000 book, you understand, or the icon, which is now a $3,000 to $5,000 book, you'll start to see that they've been hiding the truth from us. So now, what happened with these men from the Byzantine? Where did they go? How do I know that the Anglo-Saxons? I'm going to grab a couple of books. The first one I'm going to get into is this book right here. This is called The Negro Question Part 4. It's by Lee Cummings. Now, I want to thank Captain Tazaryak for these wonderful highlights. This is a quote from Professor Boyd Dawkins, Professor of Geology, Manchester University, London, 1879. And it's a shame that the majority of the sources that you're going to find out that we use from truth come from other countries. They don't originate inside of America because they keep this information suppressed inside of America so that black and Hispanics do not realize who we are. You understand? It says the original people of Britain, France, Spain, and England were black men. They were in England when our fathers, white English, invaded the land. You understand? So now, meaning what? We were there. We went and created all of this. White men invaded the land, and we conquered and ruled over them for a time period, which I'm going to show you the images and give you the proof that during these time periods, we had white people as servants. We had them as in slavery. We had them as serfs, and they built the castles and so on and so forth that we designed, just like we do today. We build all their castles, all their skyscrapers, all their houses. You understand? Jenna? So,
were the Vikings us, or were the
Okay, you don't want to look at Vikings as, you don't want to think of Vikings as a direct race. Okay. There were black Vikings, there were white Vikings. You understand? It's not like just one straight thing. Like, same thing like with the Franks and the Nords. This is another thing too. You don't want to think that everybody in the Byzantine was strictly black. The same way you don't want to think that everybody in the western part was strictly white. You understand? At this time, the hatred that we had there wasn't really color lines. That's why I'm going to have a book called Nature Knows No Color Line, where you're going to see that white people and black people both ruled around the same time, which is why today, even in America, after, you understand, you know, not too many years removed from slavery, you have men like, once again, like Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, you understand? Men who arose to certain positions of power. You have black generals, you understand? Black heart surgeons. You get what I'm saying?
When I was in prison, the Israelite told me there was a black king that ruled the whole entire Europe. And what you said was telling me this, but I never got to know his name, the great king.
Okay, there was many of them. Constantine was one of them. His descendants were some of them. King James was one of them. King Henry VIII. Don't think of just one. You understand? And there's all different time periods. Like, we were ruling for hundreds of years. So what you're about to find out is that these men from the Byzantine, they came from Byzantium, And then what they did was, Slaki, somebody take this? BAJO. So now it says that these black people boasted that they were citizens of the Roman Empire. How were they citizens of the Roman Empire? Because the Byzantine Empire was Rome. You understand? Go ahead.
The people that were already living in Britain.
It's talking about these people who were from Britain, France, Spain, and England. All of them boasted that that's where they came from. And this is why when you see, for example, there's certain things. Let me show you something here. This book right here, which is a black image of King James. See what he has in his hand? You can take a look at it. What you'll notice is that these scepters and that orb that he's holding in his hand, which is an image of the globe, meaning I rule the earth, I'm the natural king of this earth, those come from the Byzantine because they carried on those traditions. You understand? Y'all with me? So now it says, these black Britain have brought the knowledge of iron and brass with them. The iron and bronze technology will be proven perfectly when I show you the German tapestry. These people were herdsmen. They possessed the short-horned ox, the horned sheep, the goat, the pig, the horse. Now, why is this important? Because it's trying to explain to you, as you stated earlier, this is why these civilizations were able to grow so much. If the Byzantine didn't collapse, we would be way more technologically advanced than we are right now. Because we were the pinnacle of science at that time. You understand? It says evidence of this civilization can be seen all over the continent of Europe, as well as throughout the British Isles, extending as far as Germany, Switzerland, even to France and Spain. You understand? So these are all the different areas that we ruled. Now, later on, like I said, I'll get into Spain, not later on today, but later on down the line when I revisit this, I'll get into Spain, France, Germany, and really break down those histories. Today, I really want to get into England, all right? It says the purpose of this book is to prove the beginning that the historians of the 18th and 19th century had no problem describing the blackness of early Europeans. Benjamin Franklin, Professor Boyd Dawkins, and Albert Churchward gave us an eyewitness accounts of the world order in their generations. Churchward's eyewitness accounts gives a grim description of what happened to the black presence in Europe. The good doctor stated that the blacks became extant by the time he gave his lecture to the Royal Society in London, meaning what? That eventually by that point everyone was put in slavery. You understand? So now, with all that being stated, there's a couple other things that I want to get into. I'm going to be jumping around a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to understand a couple of things. This is another book right here called In Search of the Dark Ages. Now, the original Anglo-Saxon. Anybody know what Anglo-Saxon means?
Angel or son of?
Sons of angels or sons of Isaac, depending on whose translation you use. Why would these men from Byzantium come and move over into this area and name themselves Anglo-Saxons?
Because they were the descendants of.
Because these were the Jews. You understand? These were the children of Israel. Now,
but why Isaac? Why not?
Because we are the sons of Abraham. Yeah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand?
It's like the scripture says, out of Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Out of Isaac shall thy perfect precept. Out of Isaac shall thy seed be called. You understand? He was the one who was given the promise. And that's why Britain, if you break it down, it means men of the covenant. Why would these be the Anglo-Saxons, the sons of Isaac or the sons of angels? You understand? Men of the covenant. Why would they call it that? Because we knew who the hell we were. You understand? This is Athelstan. I wish I could get this image in color. You understand? That's another image that I want to blow up for y'all. This is Athelstan, the first Anglo-Saxon king. This is a black man. You understand? Come pass this around. I'm going to pass this around. You can copy it once you get the book. So now, why am I bringing this up? I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to go a little bit chronologically, and I'm also going to jump around a little bit. You understand? You see here, I'm going to save this for a minute. This for a minute. Bong, right here. So now, why else is this so important? This book right here is called Nature Knows No Color Line. Okay?
I know that all this is facts and true. But how can I prove it to my ignorant friends who are trying to come to the truth and don't really understand?
The scripture says, don't cast your pearls to swine. All you tell them is come to class.
That's beautiful. Is there, I heard that verse. Where can I find it?
Matthew's the 7th chapter. All right. So now, a couple of things that I want to get into before I start getting into specifics. These right here are family crests. What can you tell me about these family crests of nobility? I'm going to flip through a couple of them before I pass this around. Okay? Abaja?
So I can want all of them?
They all have black faces on them.
God, they all got black faces. They all, a lot of them have bandanas, and a few of them also have a shield.
You understand? Now, this is French, Dutch, and Belgium families with Negro names and faces.
Right.
This book can be found. This book, once again, is Nature Knows No Color Line. These crests were taken from a book called Fairbairn's Crest. This book is also about $500 to $600. We actually have 2 copies of it. And at one time, you weren't allowed to take this book out the library unless you were a senator. You understand? That's why every version of the books we have will say property of some library on it. Now, I'm going to continue flipping through so you guys can see how many of these crests of noble families, every single one of them had Negro faces on them or a Negro name attached to it. Why? Because we were ruling in these areas. These are, do you understand? Italy, Spanish, Polish, all these different families. You understand? German families as well. Once again, we ruled Britain up until the 17th century, and we ruled Germany up until the 18th. Ain't that something?
All right.
You understand? I'm going to keep flipping through. Abaja, you had your hand up?
Come on, sir. I was just curious about the names of the families. Why would we go around calling ourselves Schwarzmoor, Blackamoor, and so on and so forth?
Okay, because when we came into these different areas, it was the developments of the languages. You understand? Matter of fact, if you go and you look up, this is something you can get on linguistics.
Okay.
If you go, I believe I still have the article. Officer Parasha from the UK sent it to me. That when you go and you look up Germanic and Gaelic and all those different languages, they actually come from Hebrew. That's why. You understand?
Sorry, sir, if I could.
Yeah.
What happened to a lot of those families that ruled, specifically, what happened to the family that ruled in, family of niggers that ruled in Germany? And then, if you could, if there's anything on the House of the Stuarts, like what happened to them?
Okay, well, what happened to him is that King James, the Stuart line, you understand, went down through King James, and then his son Charles I was beheaded and executed. This was the beginning of the fall of their family ruling inside of Europe, or more so, rather, of their royal family lineage being replaced by so-called white people. You understand?
And if I could, do you know the name of the last black family to rule in Germany? The name of the last
I couldn't give you their names off the rip right now. Once again, that's something I'm going to get in later weeks when I actually revisit this, and I'll get more in depth with all these. You understand? Like as of right now, like I said, for tonight, I really want to stick with England and Scotland. You understand? Because once again, this is King James the 6th and the 1st. You understand? Because he was the 6th and the 1st of these 2 thrones of these 2 nations that he was ruling on. James the 6th and James the 1st, depending on which land that he was in. So once again, just want to flip through a couple more of these crests so you can see. This was extensive, man. We ruled all these different areas. Good?
The book with the full time of crest is Fairbairn's what?
Fairbairn's Crest.
Fairbairn's Crest.
Fairbairn's Crest is the actual book. Once again, like I said, we have 2 copies of it in the school. You know what I'm saying? The New York Library is extensive, man.